Hi, welcome to F&M Tarot. My name's Venna. Today I'll be giving a reading for the sign of Taurus. Let's see what Spirit wants you to know. So for Taurus, we have the Seven of Wands, King of Swords, Three of Pentacles. Seven of Wands, for some of you, I get the sense relationships, platonic or romantic or professional, has been quite tough of late. A lot of you seem or are quite defensive around people. Like you feel like some people are gossiping about you or spreading rumors or projecting onto you, and it's been very uneasy. That's the energy I'm getting for Taurus. And so naturally you're a bit defensive, you're a bit protective, you keep people at bay. You perhaps once upon a time you would laugh things off or just be cool with it. At the moment, even just if sometimes people just look at you in a way you don't feel comfortable, is enough to sort of set you off. And and for a lot of you, it's your right to feel defensive. The world is a crazy and funny place at the best of times. I mean, pandemic aside, or in fact, since the pandemic, a lot of people have changed, some for the better, some for the worse, some have just gotten crazier, no judgmental. That's just the way things are at the moment. And so I think what you have to be mindful of is, in looking at this situation, is that, especially in the workplace, this is where I'm getting a lot of you are feeling very defensive, is have a look at the relationships that you feel real defensive and guarded against and really examine them. Like, who is this person? Why am I letting them so close? Is this someone I really want to socialize with? Or do I socialize and let them in at a convenience or social convention? Because a lot of things we do is because, well, everyone else is doing, we just do it naturally, we go with the flow. We don't sometimes examine people close enough to think, well, maybe this person isn't who I thought they were, or who she was, or they're not what they say they are. And even sometimes, with time, actions speak louder than words. They reveal themselves to you. So basically, some of you really need to examine, some of these people, and you think, okay, well, they're saying this and that on the one hand, but then they're doing this. They're either very unconscious, they're not aware of what they're doing, or they could be a bit manipulative. And so we have a choice. End of the day, we always have a choice whether who do we want to socialize with, who do we want to be our friends, and who we do not. So maybe it's a case of taking a back step and just saying, hi, hello, do you know this? And that's it. Keep it short, sharp, and simple. And it's also a case of not telling the other person so much about our personal lives. Because one of the worst things about this human experience is human drama. Is when you tell someone, you think they're genuine, they're all good, and then they go tell everyone. You're like, all right, so this is who you are. Is perhaps telling some people needs to know basis, or just tell them nothing. And if you do tell someone else who might not be, say, a manipulator or a troublemaker, is, look, I've told you this, don't tell anyone else. And if they're a good friend or a good colleague, they will respect that. And if they're not, then they tell everyone, well, they're a bit of a shit person. So yeah, the Seven of Wands is really asking us to examine our friendships and our circles, and seeing who do we keep close and who do we push back, or we tell them to go away, like we distance ourselves. Because in this human experience, we don't have to be friends with everyone, because you have to sort of include everyone. I mean, that's sort of the convention, like, oh, we've got to be all inclusive. Yes, you be respectful, that's inclusive, but you don't have to be friends with someone. That's your choice, that's your free will. And no one can tell you who you can be friends with, and essentially you should never tolerate disrespect and abuse from anyone in the name of, oh, well, I've got to follow this, otherwise I'm going to be ostracized. No. And whoever then pulls you up on it, it's a good chance that they either do this behavior or they give their power away to fit in. They give their power away so they don't want to feel excluded. No. If you don't feel comfortable around someone, avoid them or tell them to fuck off. It's that simple. So ultimately it's asking you to take your power back, which sums it up in the King of Swords, which swords are to do with conflicts and communication. It's really asking you to grasp this aspect, because a big part of life, as well as a large aspect of life, is conflict resolution and communication. When I say conflict resolution, it is not saying you're always getting arguments or you're always having tense standoffs with people. It's when things happen, how you say something and the intent you say things and the tone of voice is a difference between a conflict arising or conflict avoided. So a lot of people, not just you, Taurus, do not like conflict. So they're very passive, or they hold themselves back, or they give their power away. Or the inverse is they're very angry, they're very confrontational, very aggressive. So you go those two extremes, and therefore that's why there is conflict, because they don't realize that a lot of this is it's how you talk, how you communicate, and how well you know yourself, how well you know the other person. Sometimes a big part of conflict resolution is, sorry, I didn't understand that, could you please repeat? Or it could be, I was wrong, I'm sorry. Or a conflict resolution would be, look, you're being very aggressive, can you please back the hell off? It's standing your ground, having boundaries and telling the person how they've crossed them and keeping them back. A big part of, conflict is very part of everyday life. It will never go away, but it's important to learn all the time how we can manage them, how we can say things better, how we can do things better, not shy away from it, because the universe has a remarkable way of always giving us the same lessons over and over and over again till we learn the damn lesson. And your lesson, Taurus, and understanding you guys being the bull, is learning, perhaps rather than charging 100 miles an hour, is perhaps stop, feel, assess. Is there a better way? Can we talk this out? Can we negotiate? Or do we just simply agree to disagree? These are things that are all part of the equation. And because sometimes, this is somewhat of a tragic aspect of life, is that some of the best friendships and relationships splinter because you just have one argument, one disagreement, and it's all over. And you think about, and when you reflect on it later, and you think, well, what did we even disagree on? It was really over nothing, and this is when egos get involved, and people don't think straight, or they don't know themselves, they don't know the other person. Like, you don't want that. You don't want to lose a relationship over some real menial argument that really doesn't mean anything. And so, and finally, with the Three of Pentacles, some of you are going through a reconstruction of sorts in the manifestation, career, wealth aspect of your life. This could be restructuring your finances. Obviously, with inflation skyrocketing worldwide, this could be changing jobs. This could also be, it could be just on a budget, just with everything going on. Now is the time not to panic and be in fear, because it's so easy to go. It's a natural state we go into because we're unsure of the future, and with the uncertainty, it's actually an opportunity to really, I guess, examine our life financially, career-wise, what we want, where we are, where we want to go, and to just take a bit of a audit of sorts.